Yo, what is going on, guys? Today I am super excited to pivot the content a little bit. Today we will be going into some developer related topics, and I wanted to start with the top 5 resources you can use to learn code in 2020. Now right off the bat here, I'm going to mention the site that probably almost everyone lands on or uses at least once or twice just to get a feel for code, and that is going to be freeCodeCamp.org. The nice part about this website is it's totally free, and it will get you started right from the basics and move you along in a curriculum that is very lengthy, but it'll take you in the right steps without you having to guess of where to go next. Now, I do like this site a lot, but it's something that I personally couldn't stick with for very long. The website as a whole is a little bit bland, and if you're not as big on just reading topics and typing as you go, then maybe this one isn't for you. But the nice part is that they wrap up everything nicely with some projects, and really they just keep you on a path and start you right at the basics from HTML and CSS if you're in the web focus. So that is definitely one to check out, and I would say start there first, even if you have never written one line of code. The second resource I recommend is YouTube. Now, we all know YouTube and how powerful it can be to learn something, and coding is no different. There are plenty of channels out there that will take you from zero coding experience to be able to build full stack websites. And this one I highly recommend if you do not want to pay a penny to learn code. And it's nice because if you rely on video content and are a more visual and audio learner, this one's for you. The issue I have with YouTube though is people that are starting out that really have no idea what coding is. It might be hard to find the right piece of content for you, and there can be stuff that is quite a bit old, so you do have to do your research there. And I will say it's not bad to use old content, especially in the coding world, because on the job you will be looking at legacy code, and it's good to know a variety of ways to see how things are done. But I would highly recommend checking out Traversy Media and previously freeCodeCamp. They also make videos for YouTube, and both of those channels have curriculums that you can follow, and even just simple applications to build, such as to-do lists and beyond, to start learning. So definitely check out YouTube, because this will be a resource you use even if you decide to become a developer more seriously. The third resource I recommend, and honestly this one is my favorite, and that is going to be Udemy. Udemy is a video-based platform that you do have to pay for to access some of the content on there, but it isn't going to put a giant hole in your wallet. A lot of the videos are around like $10, $12, maybe a little more, but honestly the trick to Udemy is to not buy the courses unless they're on sale. Now that sounds like a little bit weird, but Udemy is notorious for having a ton of videos on sale like all the time. Most of the courses on there that I've paid for, I've probably only paid max $15, but I swear it's usually like $10 to $12. And once you get a feel of who you like to learn from on there, they often run specials when they release courses, so it's kind of up to you to be involved in the community that way. I really like Udemy because I like learning with video content, and even though I recommended YouTube, which I would say use both, I personally like Udemy a little more when it comes to structured learning, because you're going to get a little more bang for your buck. And by bang for your buck, I also mean more for your time spent learning. Now, a lot of people will buy a ton of Udemy courses and never finish one, but I would say pick a course, pick whatever subject you want, Python, JavaScript, Swift, and then go from there. I will link a few of the Udemy courses that I personally have taken and I recommend down in the description below, and I would highly recommend at least checking one of them out, especially if you want to get into web development. There are a couple different courses that I would recommend to look at for web development, and they will take you literally from knowing no code to being able to build full stack applications, or really whatever you want. If you want to do mobile development, there's something for that. If you want to do data science, there's something for that. But the trick with Udemy is you have to apply what you learn into your own projects afterwards. It's very easy to fall into the trap of watching a Udemy video, building a couple portfolio projects, and then never doing anything with it. So I really would take this seriously and act like you are actually taking a college course or a high school course, whatever it may be, and really go through the curriculum carefully and not rush through it. It will pay off, I promise. The fourth resource I'd recommend is Codecademy. Codecademy is a great website to get started if you've never coded before. It's kind of on the same level as freeCodeCamp, so I would choose one or the other. I wouldn't dive into both because I would just stick to one thing, especially if you're learning code for the first time. It can be really overwhelming. But what I really like about Codecademy is I think it's just visually more appealing than a lot of the other websites that are text-based learning. It has a really nice built-in code editor, and it just takes you through really methodically, and I find that I understand things a lot easier when it comes to how they've structured it. I think their wording is great, I think the examples are great, and they have you do stuff multiple times instead of just once and moving on. To really hone in on your skills. Now this one is a little different in that they have a base version that's free, but that really only gets you so far. So if you find that you like Codecademy, I would recommend looking into the Codecademy Pro membership. And this one is nice because if you are a student, and I'm not exactly sure how this works, but I know students get a little bit more of a discount. But if you are paying on a monthly basis, Codecademy Pro is a little expensive. So I would say if you are really serious about this, maybe pick up the annual membership, because like other things, if you pay the full year, you save a lot. But in this case, you really do save a lot. It's a lot of money that you save by just paying this annual fee. I think the monthly can go up to almost $40, which is a lot of money, especially if you aren't going to take it seriously. So I would say definitely look into Codecademy Pro. Codecademy is nice because it does have small little sections where you can learn a little bit about CSS, a little bit about HTML, intro to JavaScript, but then they have a full-blown course to start from nothing and, like I've said before, build entire web applications. So this one is high up on my list. I did use it personally when I was first learning to code. This was probably one of the first websites I stumbled upon, and it really got me into it. But I think it's just so user-friendly, and it's definitely backed by a lot of developers in the scene. So if video isn't your thing, I would say go to Codecademy. All right, now the final resource I recommend is Team Treehouse. Now, if you're familiar with other developer content creators, you might have heard this. Specifically, Chris Sean really backs this place up. And I'm gonna be fully transparent, I've never used Team Treehouse, but based on what I've looked at, it does look good, and it's another option where if you are really wanting to learn with videos, I'd recommend looking into this. This can be viewed sort of similar to Udemy, although it's a little more education structured, if that makes sense, at least from what I'm seeing based on my research. So there is a free 7-day trial, and then it goes to, I believe, $20 a month for their basic plan. Now they have 3 different structures, I believe. There's a basic plan, a pro plan, and then there's a tech degree. So I believe what a lot of people have done is the tech degree, because that gives you a little more communication with real world coders. So you'll get feedback on your code and have access to the full plan. Whereas I think the pro membership gives you a little bit of extra content, maybe some more lectures or workshops, and the basic plan is just kind of what you started out with. So I know that wasn't the best description of this, but if you're going to be spending that kind of money, definitely look into it. Their website is very straightforward, and it will tell you the differences between each one. But I know a lot of people do back this place, and it's a 7-day free trial. So if you want something that's structured and kind of beyond just one, say, Udemy topic, this might be the way to go. It looks a little more in depth. So like I said, don't have experience with it, but this one is worth looking into. I've heard a lot of great things, so it might be worth checking out. So that's it. That's 5 resources you can use to learn code in 2020. I highly recommend you just pick one of these and then stick with it until the end, and then move to the other. There is a big habit of new developers to just go from tutorial to tutorial to tutorial, or do multiple tutorials at one time, and really that's not the best use of your time. It's okay in the beginning to try a couple out and really get a feel for what your learning style will be, because you want to make sure the time you're going to spend is well spent. So I encourage you to just go to every site I mentioned. Of course, you're on YouTube, so you're already there. Maybe start there. And you can even look up reviews for each site. There's plenty of content to look at, but I highly recommend just choose one. Your time is going to be definitely better spent focusing on one way of structuring your learning. And if any of you are in a job hunt like myself, just remember that this is a really, really tough career to break into, but I promise you, from what I've seen, it looks like it will be worth it. We got this, we can do it. That job's in sight. Your next opportunity is right around the corner. Don't give up. Coding is really hard, and that is something I think a lot of beginners need to understand, but it's also very rewarding, especially if you choose to not do it in the future as well. There's a lot of things you can take out of learning to code to apply it to other places. So with that being said, thanks so much for checking out this video. Check out all my other social platforms down below. I'm posting pretty frequently on Instagram, and you can see all the gear I have used for this video, as well as links to everything I've talked about. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.